real. I'm telling you, man, when you are determined, you will find a way out of no way. And that's what I did, man. I started working on me because I knew I had to get bigger in order to compete with the big boys in high school. You know, just in 1 year, I went from 104 pounds to 150 pounds.
But then came high school at Ribault High, an urban school on the city's north side.
It was a school in the middle of the hood, in the community. It was an all-black school. Man, we had plenty rhythm, plenty soul. The band that we had was amazing, man. And we had about 3,000 students at that school. It was the biggest school I ever, attended. I was a little intimidated because I was a young guy on the block, man. But the one thing I had in my favor is that I was known for playing football. And that's what I did. The Ribault Trojan Junior Varsity. That year, man, we won the city championship. It was the first time in my life that I became a champion. What a wonderful feeling, man, to be a champion, that you can put your hand up and say, I am number one. We are number one.
Elgin was a dedicated and hardworking student and athlete. He was actually called the Trojan Horse because of his outstanding performance on the football field. It really didn't surprise me at all when Elgin, out of all the other athletes and everyone that he played with, that he made it all the way to the NFL.
Legendary ain't the question, I'm the greatest. Legendary ain't the question, I'm amazing. Legendary ain't the question.
During that time,
legendary ain't the question, I'm Elgin.
going in high school, man, there was one or two girls, man, that was feeling me and I was feeling them. So it was the first time I went on a date. I was like, 16 years old, man. By that time, I'm driving for the first time. Went on a couple of dates. Hey, man, I was becoming popular. But I had to refocus, keep my mind on sports, man. By the time I got into my senior year in high school, we had just hired a new coach because we were doing a lot of losing at Ribault. And that hurt, man. But we got this new coach. His name, Don Gaffney.
Coach Gaffney, nicknamed E.D. Baby Herschel.
Don Gaffney was the first black quarterback at the University of Florida. He was my coach, bringing in a new system, and he was helping young guys get scholarships, man, to go to college, full scholarships. I wanted a scholarship, man. I wanted to go play football in college, but I still had a lot of work to do. I was still little. I was fast, but I was still little. So I decided that I was going to run track for the high school. And this man, who I love to this day, his name is Coach Charlie Helm. I didn't really want to run track. Coach Gaffney made me run track.
From 1970 to 1990, I was Coach Charlie Helm at Ribault Senior High School. The track program at Ribault was hard. The workouts were tough. You just didn't come out there and jump into one of our workouts.
Elgin had a goal, and new head coach Don Gaffney and Charlie Helm worked with Elgin to make his goal come to fruition.
We couldn't give him nothing but our best. And every day in track practice, we had a regimen. We had to run quarters, which is one time around the track, but you had to run it under time. And I hear Coach Helm saying this right here. Pick it up, Elgin, pick it up. Pick it up, son. You're too slow. And I'm breathing hard. Coach would say, you gotta stand up. No bending down. You gotta walk, man. You gotta walk. See, it was all in my backside, man, trying to make me great.
Back in my day, ED, man, was down, man, on this white line. It was just like this, baby. It was just like this. It was just like this. Just like this. Pow! Maybe the rest was history, man. I think I still got it. I think I still can do it.
And so when I went into football the next year, man, I was so much faster than the rest of the boys. My hard work, man, had paid off.
Good coaching, laser focus, and his omnipresent hard work paid off.
I was a senior at Ribault Senior High School when I kept hearing about this young kid they were calling the Trojan Horse. Everybody was saying he was going to play varsity football as a freshman. And I was saying to myself, well, nobody's never done that before, but we'll see. Until I saw him tote that rock, I could tell the dude had special skills. He was awesome. He was a beast. Everybody knew there was a new sheriff on the north side, and they were calling him the Trojan Horse, Elgin Davis.
Elgin got bigger, stronger, and faster, and became known as the Trojan Horse, the team captain.
I ran faster, I ate better, and worked hard, and before you know it, the Trojan Horse had emerged. Dude, I was 200 pounds, man. I went from 150 to 200 pounds, man. Cut, ripped, fast. Baby, I was on my way. Nobody could stop me now. I saw my future ahead of me, and I was very excited.
I've been knowing Elgin Davis for well over 40 years. I had the privilege of playing with E.D., better known as the Trojan Horse, since I was 11 years old. He was a guy that can take a pitch and take it 70 yards. All around running back. A guy that had nice speed. Very few people could ever catch him. Elgin is also a great friend. A guy that has been the same from the time we were 10 years old up until now. Elgin has not changed.
So by the time we came close to our senior year in high school, would you believe, man, I was getting interest, letters, phone calls.
Elgin graduated Ribault with all conference and city honors in football, all district, conference, and state in track and field. President of Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Who's Who in American Recognition, and 1983 High School Athlete of the Year. Scouts from nearly every college in the nation were interested, but only one program had Elgin's heart.
It was in the state of Florida. It was the U, man. Man, the U just had swag. You know how them boys be doing it in the U, man. I mean, the U, man, had a tradition. Hey, you're in Miami. There's South Beach, there's palm trees. There's a wonderful tradition. So I had decided that I was going to play football for the University of Miami, man. And by the time the season ended, something just happened that I just never, was able to figure out. All of the interest just went away. All of the teams that was reaching out, they had already signed by National Signing Day, and the worst thing could ever happen happened. I was out of the picture in Miami, but by that time, it was past National Signing Day, and most all of the scholarships were already taken. So I decided at the last minute that I was going to attend the University of Georgia without a scholarship. But there was one problem. My family couldn't afford to send me to college. So they did their best. I remember my dad and my mom filling out the financial application, and I saw on the application my dad made $11,000 for the entire year. Man, that broke my heart. But man, God is good. He always is. At the last minute, I get a call from a guy named Jeremiah Davis. He was a scout for the University of Central Florida. They had one more scholarship left, and he wanted to know if I wanted it. I asked him, I said, well, where's UCF? He said, Orlando. But it was a small school. They didn't play in front of big crowds, no TV exposure. About 12,000 students at the school, and the program was only 4 years old. Man, that's not what I was looking for. But I had to think of my family, and I accepted the scholarship. to the University of Central Florida.
Whose house? Elgin Davis.
I never forget that day. It was me, and mom, and dad, Emma, my dad's girlfriend, and my aunt and my little sister Stacy. We went to take a tour of the school, and I met the head coach. His name, Lou Saban, who would be a father figure to me for many years.
I just said to him, guys, I'm going to say things you may not like.
What the hell's the matter with you guys?
But just remember, I'm saying it because I think it's, at that moment, I was going to make you better than what you are.
My daughter could do better! My daughter could do better!
Saban was exactly what Elgin was looking for. Highly respected throughout the NFL and known for developing great talent.
Man, what can I say about Lou Saban? I tell you what, man. Lou and I, we had just a very, very special relationship. You know, when I went into college at 17 years old, he looked at me as a leader. And he taught me so many lessons. He would pull me to the side and talk to me about life and talk to me about the example that it takes to be a leader and where he saw my future going. So I respected him. He was just like a father figure. I never forget the day that he left and resigned. We were actually playing against East Carolina. We were doing pregame warm-ups, and right before we was ready to take the field to go on to play, we all gathered, and he made an announcement that he was leaving the team and this would be his last game. I mean, you should have seen the look on the faces of the players. We was all taken back. We didn't know how to take that news, and especially right before going to play a game, our head coach, our leader, was leaving us. And in his legendary voice, he said, turned around and looked at me and said, "You understand, kid? Sometimes you have to make difficult choices. I hope you understand." I really didn't at the time. I just looked at him and shook my head. That was a hard thing to swallow. But if I could say anything about Lou Saban, man, he made me a better man. He made me a better football player, and now I can appreciate him.
Coaching legend Lou Saban passed on March 29, 2009.
Rest in peace, Coach Saban. Always love you.
I never forget that meeting that we had in his office with my family. He looked at me and said, "So you want to play football for Central Florida, huh?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, do you think you can obey rules and regulations?" I said, "Yes, sir." "Do you think you can get your grades and do what we tell you to do? Stay away from distraction, drugs, all this?" "Yes, sir." He gave me a smile. He told me to sign the dotted line. I signed it. I signed for the University of Central Florida. So my freshman year at the University of Central Florida was in 1983. And everybody in college was great. It was the best of the best. And I started out as the number 3 running back on the team. Well, that didn't set too good with me. You better know, man, I wanted to be number 1.
The fall of 1983, I worked for WUCF-FM underneath the library at the University of Central Florida, and I became the UCF football team's first ever sideline reporter. It was there where I bonded a great friendship forever with UCF's first great running back, Elgin Davis, number 44.
Elgin hit the ground running at UCF, and football fans took quick notice.
What he was money every time he touched the ball.
As a 17-year-old freshman, Elgin rushed for nearly 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns.
He was one of our top running backs. And not only that, he was good. Right here at the goalpost, this was his home.
Winning Most Outstanding Player and an All-American honorable mention.
And to see him where he is now, it's expected.
I'll tell you what, my 4 years of UCF on the sideline, I saw an awesome Elgin Davis, number 44, just carrying that football down the field for UCF. He could do it all. I never saw him get caught from behind. He had the ability to hit a hole very, very quickly and go either left or right and shed tackles, and really could take it to the house in any given moment. He was that good. He was that special. He could do it all.
We named you Twinkle Toes if you didn't know that, because you always walked on your toes. You hopped around when you walked, man.
My freshman year was amazing. I became the starting running back of the UCF Knights. And before you know it, I was in the top 10 in the whole United States as a freshman, as a runner.
ED, the man, the myth, the legend. Man, I remember when we was recruited as freshmen out at UCF, man. Came in around 19 years old, man. But I tell you, man, it was an honor and my pleasure to block for you, at least my last 2 years as a lineman for UCF. And one thing about you, man, that we as linemen talked about is that you was consistent. You worked hard. You hit the holes hard. And we knew that if we did our job, you do your job. That was a trust and faith that we had in you and your ability. And as you know, you turned out to be an incredible athlete, record holder, UCF Hall of Famer. Proud of you, man. You're the best. I wish you much love, man, and keep up the good work and what you do. Take care, brother. Love you.
Oh, yeah. Whose house? Elgin Davis. Oh, yeah. Whose house?
His favorite college player was Herschel Walker, a Heisman Trophy winner out of the University of Georgia. Elgin wanted to be just like him, and now the boy wasn't just playing a game, he had a goal.
So when I grew up, I wanted to be like Herschel, man. I first met Herschel Walker back in college. I said, I need some help with my 40, man. Can you please tell me how can I improve my 40 time? Herschel looked at me and said 2 words: stay low. And that's exactly what I did. I stayed low. And would you believe, when I ran my next 40, I went from a 4.4 to a 4.340. All because of Herschel's advice, man. I want to say, big brother, Herschel, man, thank you for the advice. Thank you for what you gave to the game. But most of all, man, thank you for influencing me. God bless you, Herschel. So my second year at UCF, it was a trying year for the school, man, because the football team had gotten itself in some financial difficulties. And we were on the verge of dropping the football program.
This is the Bounce House, home of the UCF Knights football team.
I never forget, our last coach, our third coach actually, Lou Saban, our second coach, he kind of used to the NFL, and we went under. We had no money. We had a meeting to dismantle football. And believe it or not, from ECU, Ron Dowdy that gave the stadium, Ron Dowdy Stadium, that Ron Dowdy signed for us to get enough money for try one more year.
Try one more year.
One more year. So we hired McDowell, and you were right there at the beginning.
Right.
And that was the beginning of really football, because from then we went up, and thanks to you and all the players we had, you guys were great, and you gave it 150%.
And with my efforts, it gained national publicity. With Teddy's effort, and with the rising star named Bernard Ford, the three of us put UCF on the map.
This guy is someone the kids looked up to, I looked up to, and you're amazed every time he hit the field. There was just something about him. It was a magical thing. It was a God-gifted talent. And he knew how to put that onto the field, but also too how to put himself out there to the people and make himself the man he is today. But during those days, there wasn't a better running back at UCF.
And it gave the college a breath of fresh air. It was resuscitated, man. We saved that college from going under. Man, that's a huge accomplishment, man. So now, the college is 65,000 students. And now UCF is one of the greatest football programs in the United States. That school now brings in millions upon millions of dollars to the athletic program. And since Teddy and I was drafted into the NFL, every single year, scores of NFL players are coming from the University of Central Florida. Man, we gave future generations hope. We were pioneers, man. We didn't get the fame and the glory and the ESPN and all of these big crowds, man. We were just playing in front of modest crowds. No one knew who we were. But now everyone knows who UCF is. It's a great feeling, man, to be a pioneer. It's a great feeling, man, to be one of the bricks, man, that helped to build one of the great institutions today. And once we made it, we were used as recruiting tools. When they went to talk to the high school guys, they talked about us. Man, we got guys in the pros. We got guys that did this and did that. So our name helped build recruiting, better players, meaning more wins. More wins mean more money. More money means more growth. We were the first domino to fall. And from that falling, many dominoes just kept on falling and falling and falling. I'm proud, man, to be a part of such a great history at the University of Central Florida.
Well, Elgin Davis has to be in the top 3 great players that we've ever had. And I don't even know who the first 2 is.
So in college, life was good, man. I went through my freshman year, my sophomore year. I went through my senior year. And nobody had ever been drafted from the University of Central Florida, but people were starting to say now, hey man, we think this kid got a shot to make it in the NFL from UCF. And man, as we got closer to the end of the year, everything intensified. My last game, I broke the school record again. I had the longest run in school history. My teammates, hey man, they were more than just football players. My teammates, they were my friends. They were my brothers.
This is the untold story of Elgin Davis, 44 to 40 docufilm.
When I left UCF, I left with every rushing record. I left with about 35 school records, captain of the football team. And now, scouts from the NFL were starting to come in and visit with me.
The NFL draft was rapidly approaching, and pressure was mounting for Elgin and his family.
Man, do you know what getting drafted meant for me and my family? It meant making it out of poverty. It meant money. It meant our dreams can come true, man. So I slept football. I ate it.
Elgin ended his college career as a 4-year starter. He logged 2,064 yards, averaging 4.4 yards per carry and 23 touchdowns, holding every rushing record in school history. After 2 injury-plagued years where his performance and production were greatly diminished, Elgin required off-season surgeries to repair his ankle and knee. Elgin's NFL hopes and dreams were dying. The all-time leading rusher at UCF wasn't even invited to the NFL Combine. This was a blow to his mighty heart. Despite his disappointment, Elgin continued rehabbing and training for pro day workouts. He knew that this was his last chance to show his heart and to prove the doubters wrong. Elgin recorded a blistering 4.340, one of the fastest times among the entire NFL draft class. Even though Elgin's college career had been stellar, many NFL scouts had expressed significant concerns surrounding his injury proneness.
My last game, I knew it was over. It was time to get ready for the draft. the NFL draft.
When he was drafted, they was waiting that night, when different teams was all getting their picks and stuff, and we must have stayed up all night.
And that was a big thing for my family. So on draft day, we had a party over. We felt I would get drafted pretty high. The draft started at 8 o'clock that morning. And around 7:30, I get my first call. Guess who it's from? It's from the Dallas Cowboys. They asked me, man, how you feel about being a Cowboy? I feel great. They called me again before the draft. My stepdaddy said, I think you're going to the Dallas Cowboys. I got call after call after call after call because we knew it was getting ready to happen. Then all of a sudden, the call stopped.
Elgin's future was anything but certain. Draft day came, and round after round disappeared, and ED still wasn't drafted.
And I'm watching the draft on TV, and I'm seeing guys get drafted that played my position. I mean, I was happy for them, man, but they wasn't ED, man. I mean, they couldn't shake and bake like me. Man, I was getting angry with that, man, because my draft stock was falling. I was losing money every round that went by. I was losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, man. And I started to get a little depressed. My agent called me and said, hey, man, hang tight. It's going to be all right. 10 o'clock went by, 12 o'clock went by, 3 o'clock went by. Man, the draft is going on. It ended at 12 that night. It's 6 now. It's 8 now. It's 9 o'clock now, and there's no more calls. Man, I'm pacing the floor, man, because I don't think I'm gonna get drafted now. 10 o'clock come. I get a call from my agent and my teammate at Central Florida, Teddy Wilson. He got drafted in the 10th round to the Washington Redskins, and Teddy became the first NFL player drafted from the University of Central Florida. Man, I was happy for Ted, man, but man, I wish that could have been me. We knew it was going to be one of us, man, but if anybody, man, deserved it, it was Teddy Wilson. 11 o'clock goes by. 12 o'clock goes by. And the NFL draft is over with, man.
We must have stayed up all night. He never got a call from any of the teams, and so I had went to bed.
Lying in bed at 2 a.m., dejected and depressed, as the hours slipped, so did ED's confidence.
I stayed up in my room, just laying across the bed, and at 2:02 a.m.,
ED finally received the call that he had been waiting for his entire life.
He got a call. I answered the phone. And so I said, Elgin, I said, it's someone that want to speak to you.
It was from the New England Patriots.
Dick Steinberg, the general manager of the AFC defending champion New England Patriots, took a chance and drafted UCF's all-time rushing leader in the 12th and final round.
He said, Elgin, congratulations, man. We just drafted you as our final pick in the NFL draft. Hey, man, it wasn't the round I wanted to get drafted in, but, man, somebody wanted me, man.
I was so happy for that child. And that was the most exciting thing. I think we must have called so that his friends came. I called all my family in Georgia to let him know that Elgin had made the team. I felt like with his dedication, the type of person that he was, that he deserved it. It was very well deserved.
I had gotten drafted to the New England Patriots, their final pick. So that year, 1987, me and Ted Wilson, we became the first players ever drafted from the University of Central Florida to the NFL.
Can't tame me, an animal belief. Raised by Fred and Azaleen. I'm a boy EB, riding coupes and limousines. 44-40, Patriot Nation, no hesitation. Feel the vibration.
So when I got drafted by the New England Patriots, man, I didn't even know where New England was. I mean, like, where in New England, man, is the Patriots, right? And it was in a little place called Foxborough, Massachusetts. And in 1986, the New England Patriots went to the Super Bowl, man. And it was big time for New England, for the big time sports fans. And they made it to the Super Bowl from a wild card position. I never forget it. I watch it on TV, man.
We are the Bears, shuffling crew, shuffling on down, doing it for you. We're so bad, we know we're good, blowing your mind like we knew we would. You know we're just strutting for fun, strutting our stuff for everyone.
Man, they beat New England down 46-10 in the Super Bowl, man. In the Super Bowl. I got drafted to that team. It was a star-studded team that had so much potential. And the number one goal for New England that year, man, was getting back to the Super Bowl.
E.D. arrived at training camp with a chip on his shoulder and an insatiable desire to prove himself.
So I go to Foxborough, and being the 12th round draft pick, no one really thought that I was going to make that team. They had too many superstars because there was no such thing as a guaranteed contract. Man, they brought in nearly 100 guys to camp, but only about 53 made it. What happened to all of the other guys? Their dreams went down the drain. And I wondered, man, was that going to be me?
Under a minute remaining in the first quarter. Ramsey takes the pass. And down at the 39-yard line is Cedric Jones.
Throughout my 9 years as a member of the New England Patriots Football Club, I have fond memories of many teammates. One fond memory, especially, of a running back named Elgin Davis. Elgin was a 12th round draft pick, I think the 330th player taken that year from the University of Central Florida.
But somehow, some way, man, I just knew that I was going to be different. I was going to make that team no matter what.
Elgin was a magnificent specimen. His body looked like God had hewed him out of marble. He was fast, in the 4.28 to 4.35 range. He was quick, he was agile, and he could go to the house with one touch of the football.
I didn't get a lot of playing time. We had 5 all-pro running backs, and we brought in 10 running backs into camp. I mean, man, 5 gotta go. But the 5 that were there were number 1 and number 2 draft picks. They were all pros. Here little me from Central Florida. I don't stand a chance, man. But let me tell you something, man. I fought, man, like a champion. I bit on, and they couldn't shake me loose, man. I wanted that thing, man. I wanted it for my family, brother. And I started doing good. I was opening people's eyes. Wow, who is this guy? I was fast, man. I had world-class speed. I was shaking. I was baking, man. And everybody started to say, hey, man, we got a player.
While in camp, E.D. bonded with teammate Darrell Usher. Both were long shots to make the team, but their drive and tenacity caught the attention of head coach Raymond Berry. E.D. immediately impressed everyone in rookie camp with his speed and size. Battling a series of injuries, E.D. was seldom in uniform, but Raymond Berry was willing to wait. Berry was positive that E.D. could be a productive running back in the National Football League. The Patriots felt they had discovered a gem.
He was a brother. He was a teammate. But most of all, he was a friend of mine. And we became instant friends. We did everything, man. We had a goal on being the number 1 NFL return tandem in the league. I could never stay healthy. Hurt. That means now making the team is in jeopardy. I missed all of the preseason games except one. And that one preseason game was in my hometown, Jacksonville, Florida, man. We played against the Atlanta Falcons that game. All my family from Georgia, all my high school teammates, everybody from UCF. Man, I had my own cheering section, man. And they was calling my name, E-Dog, baby. You got this, man. Man, I was so happy to be back. I never forget, it was raining that game. And I used to return kickoffs, right? And I'm back to get that kickoff, and boom, I caught the ball, and somehow or another it slipped out by hand, fumble. Oh man, that's not the way to start. Especially not the way to make a team. I was back there again. I dropped it again. Oh man, I was feeling nervous because I'm missing my opportunity, man. Why are you dropping the ball? I know it's wet, but you know how to deal with adverse conditions, man. You played in rain, you played in cold. Come on, ED, get it together, man. I had one more shot at it. Man, would you believe I dropped the ball again? I said, this is it. I'm not gonna make this team. It's over with. I laid on the field. I didn't even get up. Everybody else had left the field. I was still laying down, grieving. I look up. My coach, Raymond Berry, is walking on the field. I'm like, oh my God. He's finna let me have it on TV. My family, my friends. But man, do you know what that man did? He kneeled down, got on his knees, got on my level. He extended his hand out. He grabbed me, pulled me up, and said, great job, son. Oh, man. You talking about a powerful moment between player and coach. Coach Barry, man, if you listen to this, man, I want to tell you, man, I love you for that, man. You could have crushed me, but you have so much grace and dignity, man. So much love and respect. You uplifted me, man, a fallen soldier, and you helped me back onto my feet. I got on that bus from Jacksonville, heading back to Foxborough, waiting for Monday to come around to hear the news who made the team. I didn't think I was gonna make it, man. We all went into the stadium that day, and Coach went one by one to each locker. And when you saw the player leave, you knew that was bad news. One player left, another person spared. One player left, it was getting closer to me. Now it was my time to receive my fate. He came to me and said, congratulations, man. You made the team. Dude, I was an official New England Patriot in 1987.
This is the untold story of Elgin Davis, 44 to 40 docufilm.
I would never forget my first game. I was a rookie, and we was playing at home in Foxborough. Man, it was a cool, crisp autumn afternoon, and we were coming out the tunnel, and it was my first time playing in front of a big crowd, because at UCF, man, we had tiny crowds. But it had to be at least about, 70,000 people in the stands. And man, it was loud. You couldn't hear anything, man. I was like, wow, man. I never played in front of TV audiences before. There was ESPN and CBS and NBC. It was amazing. And we were about to receive the kickoff.
Due to a preseason injury, ED was limited to kickoff return duties on special teams. On November 29, 1987, in Foxborough, Massachusetts, ED anxiously awaited to receive his first kick return against the Philadelphia Eagles.
And I never forget this. We were on the sideline, and Coach Scar looked at me and said, son, you ready? I said, yes, sir. I'm ready, man. And I went back, and he called a return right. So what a return right is that once the receiver gets the ball, he is designed to run right until he finds a crease. And when he finds that crease, you got to shoot up in that bad boy. And that's what I did. I got that return, and I ran, and I saw an opening, and I shot up in there. Oh man, I had one man to beat, and he got me by the leg, man. Otherwise, I would have took it to the house. I ran for 44 yards on my first return. That was awesome. And I never forget, man, the stands, the crowds went crazy, and so did my teammates. So one of my teammates, his name was Brent Williams, and he's a big old guy. He's about 300 pounds. And when the play was over, man, he just jumped on my back and was slapping my helmet, man, almost gave me a concussion. Brent, man, don't do that no more, man. You too big. Oh my gosh, that was awesome, man. My second return, hey, it was pretty cool too. Coach Scar said, hey, we had success the first time, let's try return right the second time. I got the ball back on the kickoff, but this time there was no seam. There was no alleyway to run through. So you know what I had to do, man? I had to put on the jets, the burners, man. And what I did, I was trying to bend around that corner, man, and break it down the sideline. And I did until the angle caught up on me, the pursuit caught up on me. And next thing I know, I was on the Eagles sideline. And that wasn't a good place to be. So I flicked the ball, man, and hurried back up on my side, my sideline with my teammates, man. Man, that was a great game for me, man. I was so nervous, man. My mom was there, my dad was there, my idol Gil Sills was there. I mean, everybody was there. And it was my first appearance, and I wanted to do good, man, for the hometown people back in Jacksonville. Now it's my third return. Oh man, that one was a little difficult. They was trying to take my head off then. And I got a great return on the sideline, and it had to be 5 to 6 guys on top of me, man. And my teammates, man, they helped me up. They were slapping me, man. And I tell you what, you could just feel the energy. That's the one thing about football, man. Just feeling the adrenaline, the rush, man. By now, Eagles said, hey man, we got enough of this dude, man. We can't allow him to touch the ball anymore. So guess what they did, Rich, man? You know, they started kicking the ball away from me. So this last return, they kicked it up to the up guy. His name is Reggie Dupart. Reggie caught the ball. Now my job, when Reggie catches the ball, is to find somebody to block. I got to help Reggie out, man. And that's what I did. I saw somebody with a green jersey on, and it was like a missile, man. I was running to him as fast as I could, and I went to go hit him. The problem was, I went head first.
All I saw was the room getting dark, everything slowed down in like slow motion, and before you know it, the lights were out.
It looks like Elgin Davis is the shaken-up player for the Patriots and will take a timeout.
Only thing I remember is being on my back, and coaches and the training staff said how many fingers I got up. I said, I don't know. I was fully concussed, man. That was my first time getting knocked out on TV. My mom and my dad, man, they were so scared. They were so nervous. They didn't know what to do. They was getting ready to come down and meet me down in the locker room and see what was up. But thankfully, I got up and I sat on the sideline. I put on my little blue jacket to stay warm, and I kept looking at the Jumbotron. And I kept seeing me on the Jumbotron. And I asked my teammates, I said, hey man, why they keep showing me on the Jumbotron? What did I do? He said, ED, man, you don't remember what happened? You got knocked out. And I was back on injured reserve for the rest of the year. As quick as it had come, my season was over, just like that. So let me tell you something about the money in the NFL. I mean, everybody felt that playing in the NFL, man, that you were just going to be rich and have all of these millions of dollars, right? Well, that's what I thought too. Now that is true for some, but let me tell you what, man, that sure wasn't the case for me. I was a minimum wage NFL player because I got drafted so late in the 12th round. 12th round draft choices don't make a lot of money. First, second, and third round, they make a lot of money. But I thought that was going to be me. But my injuries, man, it done me away. So I had to go improve myself and hope to have a better contract on the second go round and make my money then. So how contracts work, you got a base salary, but you also have something called incentives. And so for late round draft choices, we make our money through incentives, meaning that if you played running back, if you ran for so many yards a game, if you led the team in yards, if you led the division, if you led the conference, maybe each time you lead something, that pays you $200, $150,000, $300, you know, if your team make it to the playoffs. But my problem was I kept getting hurt, man. So when you get hurt, you can't play. And if you can't play, you don't make those incentives, do you? Well, that's how it was for me. Never made the incentives because I was put on injured reserve. So I had a severe tear in my hamstring, and that prevented me from running. It's a major injury that takes a long time to heal. So my first year, I had this bad injury. It just wouldn't get healed. So I couldn't make money on incentives because I wasn't playing. And so at that time, I started taking what's called cortisone injections. Because I had to play, man. I didn't have the liberty to wait because my career was in jeopardy because there's another guy waiting for my position who wasn't injured. So I had to go play even though I wasn't well enough to play. You understand? And so my injury kept getting worse because I was playing when I was injured, and the injury got another injury, which prolonged my time out. So most of that first year, I think I played 6 games that year, and I brought back returns, and I was a pretty good returner, but I was nowhere near, myself because I was hurt, man. And that was a lot of pressure. Along with that, we had an NFL strike. A strike. The union had went on a strike, and all of the players were out, and they had what was called replacement players.
In 1987, after 2 games, the NFL players went on strike. Ownership decided the games would go on.
There was a movie called The Replacement Players by Keanu Reeves. It was a pretty cool movie. And so, me just getting drafted, just having a little bit of money, I didn't have enough money, man, to last without paychecks. Like these cats that played for 4, 5, 6 years that had money set aside. So at some point, I ended up breaking the strike. Oh man, that was public enemy number 1. Because I was seen as this traitor, but other people broke the strike too. So we came back early to play and make money. And it was just horrible. I mean, it was a bad experience. When the strike was over, our locker room was divided. The guys that broke the strike was on one side. The guys that stuck it out was on the other side. We had no chance of winning that season because we were a divided team. That year, man, went and it came. That's the year also I got married, man. I married my college sweetheart, and I was 22 years old, man. And we got married, brother. And I enjoyed my marriage, man. I had a very supportive wife at the time. She supported me. Man, we did well, man. We enjoyed our lives. We enjoyed the NFL culture.
The couple gave birth to Angelica Lachey and Yasmin Zaire. The girls brought joy to E.D.'s heart and give him a deeper meaning to life.
Daddy, we're very proud of you. The person that you've grown to be. We know it's been a long road. We know about, the struggle that you tell us. We've seen the struggle. We've seen you overcome things. And I would just want to say, and I know Yazzie can vouch for this, one thing we learned from you is how to overcome. You were a great influence to us, and we saw you do that. So how can we not try?
We have our strong mindsets because of you. Even to this day, you always continue to educate us and keep us, just update us on what's going on in the world. You help us to see life in a whole new perspective. We love you, Dad, and we're very proud of you.
Very proud. Keep going, Edie.
Yeah.
This is the untold story of Elgin Davis, 44 to 40 docufilm.
Elgin was also a great teammate. His smile, his infectious laugh, he was smart, he was eager to learn, and he was just a great guy to have on the ball club.
So year 2, 1988 for the New England Patriots, I went in with a mission, man. I went in first to stay healthy, to play a complete full year, and take over the #1 spot at running back.
In the words of his head coach Raymond Berry, in the right situation, he can go in and win a game for you. The right situation is whenever he touches the ball.
And so during that time, I was rotating with the starting unit for the New England Patriots.
In 1988, second-year running back Elgin Davis was back in the running. Those who have seen him play see flashes of brilliance and suggest that entire offenses could revolve around his talents. He was just that good.
And about a week before our first game started, coach put me in. It was a play designed for me to run around the right end. They pitched me the ball. I saw the hole. I accelerated. And the minute that I accelerated, I hear a loud pop. It sounded like somebody had clapped their hands. I had popped my hamstring. Right before the first game of the season. I never forget that pain, man. I was on the ground just rolling. Got the ball and threw it as far as I could. And the training cart came to wheel me out.
The second-year pro was on his way to greatness. Then another hamstring injury that landed him on the team's injured reserve list.
It was devastating for me because that meant, again, I'm on injured reserve. It was pretty traumatic. And so I went through a rigorous training regimen of rehab. And that injury put me out for the first 6 or 7 games of the season.
Unfortunately, Elgin had a tough time staying on the field. He injured his hamstrings on multiple occasions, so his 2 years limited his playing time with the Patriots.
So for that whole season, I rehabbed, and I think we had 6 games left in the season. My injury got better. They brought me back, and I played the rest of the season.
ED was removed from the injury reserve list and was activated for the Sunday night game against the Miami Dolphins in Joe Robbie Stadium. ED's most notable performance was 47 yards on 9 carries against the Houston Oilers and 5 kick returns for 134 yards. He averaged 26.8 yards per return.
But Elgin is probably a guy who could have been one of the all-time greats.
Make no mistake about it, I was not the same player. And my family could do nothing for me. They saw my pain, they saw my grief. You know, it was just hard. And the sad news I got, Daddy had started drinking again. And he needed me, and I needed him. But we couldn't be with each other. It was pretty sad.
Each week, ED sent as much money back home as he could to help his struggling parents make ends meet.
So when the season ended, I went back to Jacksonville, and I didn't have a contract anymore with the New England Patriots.
But another team had their eyes on ED. They knew he was averaging 4.8 yards rushing and 26.8 yards on kick returns. And stats don't lie, and so the Pittsburgh Steelers made him a lucrative offer. With the same dogged tenacity that Elgin faced everything, he prepared to battle for the Steelers.
First person I meet when I get there was Mean Joe Green. Not such a mean dude, man. He's really a cool cat. L.C. Greenwood, Lynn Swan, Stalwart, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert. You know, all of the legends with Pittsburgh I met. And we enjoyed Pittsburgh for the time that I was there.
While in the Steel City, ED befriended David Arnold, a dynamic defensive back out of the University of Michigan. The two athletes trained extensively together and formed an everlasting friendship.
Training camp starts.
I remember reporting to camp in Latrobe, and I meet Elgin Davis, and who's a running back. I think he was a free agent out of New England, and we just became close. Me and Elgin, we used to hang out in between meetings and practice to see how things were going. And all of a sudden he gets hurt with an hamstring injury, and it kind of cuts his reps down. So he eventually, wasn't able to make our roster, but he brought a lot of spunk to our running back core with quick feet. Very soft-spoken, but a great guy.
Things going well. Would you believe, man? I pulled it again. I pulled my hamstring again. And I had taken so many injections that permanent damage had already occurred. And I was only a shell of myself. And I was not able to compete anymore at the level that I was able to compete. And Pittsburgh ended up releasing me. And for the first time since I was 7 or 8 years old, I wasn't playing football. I went back to Jacksonville, and later I signed in the Canadian Football League with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That was also a short stay. You got it. I pulled it again. And I had one more attempt to go play football, and that was in London, England, with the World Football League, trying to regain my career.
But a week into training camp, his hamstring yet again failed. It seems the only thing Elgin's passion and hard work couldn't overcome was his own body.
I knew at that time that my career was definitely over. It was a hard and bitter pill to swallow, because that's not the way I wanted my career to end. I was only about 27 years old. I was still in the prime of my athletic life. And the hardest thing was telling my wife that, hey, I don't have a job anymore. But she was there to support me, man. My family was there to support me. So for the first time, I didn't know what to do. I had a little bit of money saved up, and we thought about opening a business. We bought a home, took care of some responsibilities, and waited for a team to call me. I finally got that call from the Miami Dolphins, and my family was just so happy about that. And right as I was going to the airport, they give me a call back and say they're canceling the workout because of my health.
It didn't last a long time, it wasn't supposed to, but he got there. And that was the most important thing to me. He went as far as he could go in that career. You can't be blessed no more than that.
In 1989, his teammate Darrell Usher thrived with the Arizona Cardinals, but soon tragedy would paralyze the athletic community.
Darrell goes to Arizona Cardinals, but Darrell's still my boy. We're just not playing with the same team anymore. And every week, man, yo, D, what's happening, bruh? How you doing, man? Hey, man, everything is cool. Man, we still jiving, me and Darrell, right? So Darrell meets a new girl in Arizona, and they fall in love, man. But the girl has an old ex-boyfriend who's trying to get her back. But she don't have anything to do with him. She's falling for Darrell now, man. And one day, man, Darrell, while playing with the Arizona Cardinals, man, he was just in his home with his new girlfriend eating dinner, man. And would you believe, man, the ex-boyfriend comes through the back window into the house with a loaded gun, man.
This is the untold story of Elgin Davis, 44 to 40 docufilm.